For somebody who loves a good tomahawk as much as I do, I'm pretty surprised that I've waited this long to pick up the Demko Recon Hawk from Cold Steel. Well, I'm happy to announce today that that wait is over. Stick around, I'm going to be talking about this beauty. I wanted to take a moment to greet everyone and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to click on this video. As of late, a handful of my subscribers have been suggesting to me that I should check out the Recon Hawk from Cold Steel. I gotta admit, I have been looking at it for a while. Currently, I only own the Warhawk from Cold Steel. I've talked about that a lot on my channel. I love that tomahawk, but I must admit that I was very much attracted to the full tang aspect of the Demko Recon Hawk, especially being someone who loves to throw tomahawks. To give myself a little bit of constructive criticism with regards to my reviews, I would have to say that a lot of times I will buy a certain product and I love it so much that I'm just not ready to battle test it necessarily when I'm reviewing it. I'm up to this point have been more of the type that just likes to talk about my first impression review, my first impression of the product, and kind of make over its features and all of that good stuff. I'm not going to do that in this video. I bought this to battle test it. I bought this to put it through the ringer for this review. I did not do that when I reviewed my Warhawk. A lot of people was probably thinking, man, let me see what this thing can do. And with my reviews, I'm going to commit to you to step up my activity a little bit more and be willing to battle test the things that I'm purchasing. For example, I love the Recon Tanto from Cold Steel, but I bought it and all I did was talk about it. I didn't really test it. I bought a second one just so I could beat it up. With this Hawk here, I'm gonna be doing some demonstrating with it today so that you can see it in action. To give you some of the specs that I know about right off is that this is patterned after the design of a famous knife maker named Andrew Demko. This thing weighs about 24 ounces, which is 8 ounces shy of 2 pounds. Let's take it out of its sheath now. It's got a Secure X sheath. These things always have the best sheaths. Their tomahawks are great. Absolutely gorgeous tomahawk. Gorgeous looking blade. This thing is about 17.5 inches from top to bottom. You're looking at a 7-inch overall length here. Your blade length is going to be about 4.5 inches all the way around. Comes with a really nice nylon handle, which I desperately hope I don't break when I'm throwing this. Stuff breaks when you start throwing it. That's just, I've learned that. You want to really test something, then throw it. But beautiful nylon handle. The width here, I want to turn this so you can see the width. 5 millimeters thick. And when I'm holding this in my hand, it feels nice and light. It's got substance, but it's light. I can turn it. It's just got this amazing spike on the back. Really scary zombie apocalypse purge weapon. Breaching, escaping, whatever you got to do. This thing's built for the task. It's heavy. It's got just the right weight, in my opinion. I'm gonna test this edge here just for chopping. You know, I'm not gonna try to chop a big tree down with this. This is gonna be a lot of, you know, lighter duty, smaller limbs, chopping my way through. Nevertheless, let's take a look at this edge and how it performs. I mean, it feels very, very, very sharp. I believe it's going to be excellent for throwing, especially. But for now, let's see how this thing chops. Oh yeah, look at this. It cut through this little tree like warm butter. Pretty healthy limb as well. This is what I would be chopping with this kind of hawk. To be straightforward, had I known about the Recon Hawk when I bought the Warhawk, I would have bought this instead. This would have been my first choice. I don't regret buying the Warhawk, but for what I do, this is gonna have a little more practicality, and I think this one's gonna stand the test of time and give me a lot less trouble. That's just me. Do I think the Warhawk is a more powerful chopping tomahawk? I do. I do. It just hits with more thunder. I've done some chopping with the Warhawk and it's powerful. This is powerful too. Just doesn't feel quite as powerful as the Warhawk when I'm chopping with it. Another thing really cool about the Warhawk is the grip. that you can get. You can chop with the Warhawk and it doesn't jar you. This will jar you just a little bit if you try to go too heavy. In a combative situation, you're going to be able to move faster with the Recon Hawk, and the Recon Hawk is plenty heavy. Price-wise, the Recon, the Warhawk, and the Trench Hawk are all fairly comparable. The Recon might be a few dollars cheaper. What we're going to do now is do a performance test on the spike, which we're not going to have any problems. I'm going to be going into a pretty tough grain of wood. This is actually very, very hard. So I'm going to show you what this spike can do. Trust me when I say that's a deep grab for this grain. Let me show you what it does to pine. Hands down, the spike is what I would fear the most on these things. All right, now for the throwing test. I want to check the stickability of this thing. It seems like it's going to do well. This seems a little thicker than my Warhawk. My Warhawk is the perfect sticking machine. Let's see how this does. It did pretty good throwing into the pine grain. That's an easy target to throw at. It's got a lot of stickability. I'm going to try throwing this at a little bit of a harder grain. Wasn't able to get the blade side of this to penetrate this wood. This is really hard. I was able to throw it on the spike side and get a good penetration. So I want to show you something. Show you the difference between, this grain and a pine, but watch this. It just doesn't want to stick. I mean, I'm giving it a good thump. All right, now watch what happens when I hit the pine. Here's the pine grain. See the difference? Pine is a good target to throw at. Even when I hit it with the broadside, it still sticks pretty good. So depending upon what you're throwing this at is going to depend on how well it does. Now, I will tell you, my Warhawk penetrated this hard piece with ease. So there is a little difference in the thickness of the bevel there with these two hawks. The Warhawk definitely has more penetrating ability. All right, let me give you my final thoughts on the Recon Hawk. This thing is super awesome. It's going to stand the test of time. It's powerful and scary and throwable, as long as you're throwing at the right grain. Now, that second wood grain that I was throwing at, very, very tough for any throwing axe or tomahawk, with the exception of the Estwing Sportsman axe. I have not found anything I can't penetrate with the Estwing Sportsman's axe. I would rather throw the Estwing Sportsman's axe than anything else if we're talking about throwing hatchets or throwing tomahawks. I don't know if you have that one, but you need the Estwing Sportsman axe if you want to find the perfect thrower. There's nothing it can't penetrate the way the blade is designed. With that said, this does so many things. This is one of those tomahawks that will serve you if all you can get is one tomahawk. If you get the Recon, it's going to stand the test of time. I think you're going to be very pleased with the spike. I think you'll be very pleased with the blade itself and the handle and just the way that it's set up. This is one cool tomahawk. I'm really thankful that you guys out there in YouTube land talked me into this. It's hard to go wrong with Cold Steel. Hard to go wrong with them. I have never bought a Cold Steel product that I didn't absolutely rave over. I've probably bought, 7 or 8 different blades from them, and I love their product line. I just love the way they do things. Being able to get this for 40 bucks, it's hard to beat. So if you do not have the Recon Tomahawk, pick this thing up. I think you will find it well worth the price. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.